You'll want to check out the settings to make sure that you have your settings the way you want. So there are 3 tabs on the center of your screen. Click on the Settings tab. Let's take a look at your options here. The first one is to make this a quiz. If you want to make this a quiz where you give points and have an answer key, you're going to turn that on. You'll know it's turned on when the color changes. Next step is releasing the grades. Whether you want to release them immediately or afterwards, that is up to you. So immediately means as soon as the students submit, they'll have their answer choices given to them. I tend to like to do manual review so that if there are any changes, mistakes, or just it's a good way to I like to use the later so that the answers are not given back to them immediately. Also, it's nice, especially if you're new to Google Forms, is if you make a mistake, you can change that mistake without the students even knowing and make those adjustments. Next is locked mode. Locked mode means that you cannot go anywhere else in the Chromebook during testing. I recommend this only if the students are with you face to face, because then it makes it a little bit easier for them to utilize that tool. If they're at home, they may have some struggles that you are unable to support them with. But here in Bay City ISD, we have GoGuardian, and actually I would recommend that over using locked mode. And then you have some options with your how the students respond. Are you going to allow them to see their missed questions, correct answers, and point values? That is completely up to you. And so you can turn them on and off as it fits what you're teaching. You can have a set of default points. So that means that if you have 20 questions, you want them 5 points each, you would put that 5 points there. It would make all 20 questions worth 5 points. You can also individualize your points as well. We'll talk about that in another video. Responses gives you some options here. Collect email addresses. If you want to collect their email address, it's default to be turned on. You can turn that off if you do not need their email address. You can send responders a copy of their response. The default is off. And then always allow response editing. So once they submit it, if they click on the link again, it'll allow them to make changes. You can make it where it's only for Bay City ISD students or people who are within our organization. So that means anybody that has a district email will be able to view this. Anyone that does not will not be able to access this. So if you're sending home a form, if you're emailing a form to parents, for example, you'll want to make sure to turn that part off so they can access your Google form. And then limit to 1 response. If you only want them to be able to submit 1 time, you'll want to turn that on. If they can respond multiple times, you'll want to keep that turned off. In quizzes, you will not use the presentation feature. So let's keep scrolling down to forms. There's a couple of defaults on the forms and on question defaults. So you can make those adjustments as well. It saves automatically, so once you make all those changes, you can scroll back up and then go to wherever you need to go next. If you want to access your questions, you'll click on the Question tab.